Welcome back to the channel, survivors. As always, we're going to be diving back into Ark Survival Ascended. Today, I'm going to be bringing you guys some most recent news about the game. We're going to be talking about some really hot topics going on right now through the Ark community. Some good, some bad, and unfortunately, some ugly, all right? And before we officially dive in, if you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe here on the channel for everything Ark Survival Ascended related. Also, if you guys are looking to pick up your own PvE community server here via Nitrado, I do have a partnership with them, and you can utilize the link down below in the description as it does directly help support the channel. So diving right in, the very first hot topic I want to discuss, and that is the most recent event that is officially concluded, and that is the Winter Wonderland event. On official servers, this event is no longer active. The devs have taken care of, taking it and removing it from the game. However, if you're on official servers, you have no issues whatsoever, and you are able to keep all of the items that you achieved, right? All the cool skins, the Krampus skins, the chibis, you name it, whatever you got, all the dinos, everything will officially be yours. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case for unofficial servers. If you guys happen to host your own server or, do your own thing on a single player world, you name it, and you have the Winter Wonderland mod activated, if you happen to deactivate it without doing the right, preparation or precautionary stuff, then unfortunately, you might end up losing some of those items. And yes, that does include the rented private servers from Nitrado. You see, with Ark Survival Ascended, they've actually changed the way that they have enabled or disabled events on unofficial servers. When it comes to unofficial servers, aka like mine that I have rented through my partnership with Nitrado, that is not the case. They have this ability where you have to enable the mod to run that event, and secondly, you have to disable it in order for the event to, go away off of your server. The why this is very important is because they have found that some people that have unfortunately uninstalled the mod from their unofficial server actually lost the items that they earned via the Winter Wonderland event, aka the chibis. It could be some dinos, it could be the new Krampus skin, you name it. So you can actually lose these items, and that's actually a big deal for a lot of players, especially people that are dedicated to the game and want to collect everything new that the events have to offer. Well, in the official Discord for Ark Survival Ascended, Sed actually dropped a notice talking about how the event has officially concluded on the official servers, but they also mentioned this little bug that is happening with losing items, and they did offer a temporary fix until they figure out a better solution. The temporary fix, as you can see listed down here, states that when turning off or disabling Winter Wonderland, you want to add the Winter Wonderland ID to your server launch parameters. Obviously, you can see it here in parentheses. It says, make sure to also keep the Winter Wonderland active until content migration happens later this month. Failure to use both launch parameters will result in the loss of event cosmetics/items. And additionally, for single players, it says, make sure to keep the Winter Wonderland mod active until content migration happens later this month. Now, obviously, this isn't a permanent solution, right? I understand that, but this is their temporary fix until they figure out something more solid. In my personal opinion, I would just simply recommend just don't uninstall it. If you're on an unofficial server or a single player world, it doesn't really matter. I would just let the event run. If anything, it actually benefits you because you can collect more of these rewards for a longer period of time. I know the event might get a little bit of old or get stale, you name it. In general, though, I think just the best rule of thumb, if you want to save these items and not lose them, wait until we have 100% confirmation that this bug has been fixed. Now, speaking of new updates, we also got an announcement today, once again from Sed in the official Discord, on a couple of things that a lot of players have been talking about here recently. The very first one relates to turrets and them targeting and firing at thrown enemy cryopods. And it was very comical here seeing that the turrets will actually target the enemy's cryopods, and some people have actually found creative ways to kind of like use this as an exploit, if you will, just to try and raid bases and steal people's stuff on PvP servers. But either way, that that seems to have officially been fixed, so you can no longer use that. Additionally, here it says they have fixed an issue where dinos would visually fly up into the sky. This was one that we thought was hilarious. We've seen this happen several times on my private PvE community server that I have rented. And lastly, they talk about how they fixed an issue where wirelessly crafting resource amounts were not displayed accurately. And now that's going to wrap up the update portion of this video. The second part here that I want to talk about is more of the bittersweet situation. I want to dive a little bit deeper and talk about the performance and how well, Ark Survival Ascended is performing stacked up against its, previous game, Ark Survival Evolved. And on top of that, I want to talk about another really big controversial topic here going on through the Ark community. So now the first thing I want to mention relates to the population and the success of Ark Survival Ascended. I've seen a lot of other content creators talk about this here, and I see a lot of buzz throughout social media with a lot of people making the correlation. Well, the only correlation that we can really make at this point is going to be via Steam, all right? So if we take a look at the Steam numbers, obviously we can see here that it is really a toss-up between which one is leading on any given moment. That's either Ark Survival Ascended or Ark Survival Evolved. One of the two of them are pretty much almost even when it comes to the amount of players that they serve. Sometimes one is serving more than the other one, but in general, this is very interesting, and I think it's actually very worrisome to a lot of not only content creators, but players in general, as Ark Survival Ascended was set to be the new launch of Ark Survival Evolved. The official servers for Ark Survival Evolved as well no longer exist. Therefore, this player count you're seeing is actually unofficial and player-hosted servers. That is not even the official servers hosted by Wildcard themselves. So again, very interesting here because these numbers are still keeping up with the official servers of Ark Survival Ascended, which again, I think has a lot of people worried that is Ark Survival Ascended achieving what Wildcard and Snail Games set out to achieve. I unfortunately think the obvious answer here is simply no. I don't think that Ark Survival Ascended is holding up to what Snail Games and Wildcard Studios officially hoped that it would. I personally think it's lackluster. I think in general, it's just not performing like as well as even players thought it would, which is probably leading a lot of players actually to dive back into Ark Survival Evolved. Now, one argument that I have seen from some other creators throughout the community, they've kind of mentioned that there's not a whole lot to offer compared to Ark Survival Evolved. So for instance, we only have the island map currently, and it was just, recently that we actually had cryopods finally introduced into the Ark Survival Ascended. And I think that is part of it. I think like a lot of those players that have been playing Ark Survival Evolved for years and years and years and years, obviously they want to play whatever content they want to play with whatever mods they want to play it on, and a lot of that stuff is currently not available for Ark Survival Ascended. And I will state that a lot of those players that do own Ascended will probably be making their way back to Ascended when all of that content is officially added. However, I think the bigger elephant in the room is actually related to all of the optimization and the server exploits. Right now, if you are a official player for Ark Survival Evolved or Ascended, and you wanted to play on a PvP server, well, it's kind of pointless because there's so many hacks, so many glitches, so many exploits, and just simply the sheer lack of optimization in general makes it not worth your time. Same thing goes for PvE. If you jump into PvE, well, you're missing out on a lot of content that has already been available for Ark Survival Evolved that you can literally go play, sacrifice on the graphic side of things, and go play and access all that content right now. And then to further more on this point, I personally think that the optimization in general is also once again killing the game experience for a lot of players. And it's really unfortunate as a person who loves these Ark games. I mean, I have over 5,000 hours in Ark Survival Evolved, and then I have already almost 200 hours, which I know isn't a lot compared to some people, in Ark Survival Ascended. And I really, really love the game. I still think it has a ton of potential, and I'm not going to quit anytime soon, but I just think that that's a more bigger reason as to why their numbers are obviously vastly lower compared to what Snail Games or Wildcard Studios expected. And now, in addition to comparing the two games and the big worry throughout the Ark community, another one that a lot of people are still scratching their heads at that hopefully we get some information on today actually relates to server transfers. If you guys can recall, not too long ago we had an announcement that going into January we would see server transfers, and unfortunately unfortunately, we still have yet to see them. I will state that here on the 9th, we did get a response back from Dolly in the official Ark's Discord. Again, Dolly is like a mod working with, the dev team, but they essentially stated that as far as transfers go, transfers will not be open on officials this week. We're still aiming for January, but we're holding on sharing a date just yet as we spool up and test the transfer system. Hopefully, we will have this pipeline locked in soon, and we'll aim to give everybody notice, I hope. Now, I don't know about you and how you interpret this, but for me, it comes off like the top of the message started off with being very positive that server transfers would be, pushed out here for January 2024. But by the end of the message of me reading this from Dolly, it definitely seems like even they aren't even, assured or even feeling positive about it being added into the game. So with that being said, guys, I wouldn't get your hopes up. I mean, if anything happens, I would say Wildcard sticks to how Wildcard always has been, and that means they can't meet dates or expectations. Therefore, my guess is it's probably not coming here in January, which I know, unfortunately, this is going to make a lot of players upset that are on the official network and potentially even leave the game to probably go back to Ark Survival Evolved or another survival game. But either way, guys, that's going to be wrapping up our video for today. As always, I invite you guys to drop a comment down below, man. Let's start a discussion. Let's talk about what of these things you're worried the most about. Do you think that server transfers will be coming? Are you looking forward to transfers, or server transfers in general? And last but not least, what about this whole mod system? I'm not really sure that I personally like this mod system going for, that they have going for Ascended versus how it was for Evolved. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here on the channel for everything Ark Survival Ascended related. And with that being said, as always, guys, I'll see ya on the next one.